Colombia or Peru? Two neighbors in South America that share mountains, coffees, and a passion for life, but they couldn't feel more different. Colombia is modern, fast-moving, and connected, a country that's reinvented itself and now attracts digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and retirees from around the world. Peru, on the other hand, feels timeless, where ancient culture meets daily life, where the pace slows down, and where the food might just be the best in Latin America. Both are affordable. Both are beautiful, but one feels like a country on the move and the other feels like a country that remembers where it came from. So which one actually gives you the better life abroad in 2025? Let's find out. Hey guys, I'm Matt, the Americano, and I help you figure out how to actually make the move abroad. Whether it's visas, taxes, or just what daily life really looks like, I've got you covered. If you like these country comparisons, hit that subscribe button. I've got new ones every week, each breaking down what life is really like abroad. Also, check out the links in the description, the passport, my free newsletter with expat strategies, visa breakdowns, and cost of living data for countries all over the world. All right, let's dive into Colombia versus Peru, two countries that share a border but offer completely different ways to live the good life abroad. Let's start with the question everyone asks first. How far does your money go? In Colombia, your dollar still stretches a long ways. A comfortable lifestyle in cities like Medellin, Bogotá, or Cartagena runs between $1,000 and $1,500 a month, including rent, groceries, and daily life. A one-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood costs around $400 to $800. Utilities are reasonable, and eating out won't hurt your budget. $4 to $6 for a restaurant meal, or $3 for a solid lunch special. The peso has been relatively stable through 2025. Inflation's easing, and you can actually plan your finances with confidence, something not every Latin American country can say. Peru, on the other hand, is slightly cheaper, especially outside of Lima. You can live well on $900 to $1,300 a month with rent for a nice apartment ranging between $300 and $600 depending on the city. Food is inexpensive, transportation's cheap, and local markets are full of fresh produce at prices that make supermarkets look like scams. The one exception is Lima. Rents and restaurants there are catching up to Bogotá levels, and imported goods cost more. Who wins this round? It's close, but we'll call it a tie. Colombia gives you better infrastructure and more modern amenities for the price, while Peru edges slightly cheaper overall, especially if you live outside Lima. In Colombia, you can live well without worrying about your budget. In Peru, your budget barely notices your spending. One big consideration for expats, especially those who plan to visit family often, is how easy it is to get in and out of the country. Colombia has one of the best connected flight networks in Latin America. Bogotá's El Dorado International Airport offers nonstop flights to most major U.S. cities. Miami in 3.5 hours, New York in 6, and Toronto, Madrid, and Mexico City directly. You can fly internationally from Medellin, Cartagena, or Cali too, without having to connect through Bogotá. That kind of accessibility makes a big difference if you travel frequently, or just like knowing home is only a few hours away. Peru's main hub is Jorge Chávez International Airport in Lima, and while it is one of the busiest in South America, it's more of a connector for regional travel than a global hub. There are direct flights to Miami, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, and LA, but options are fewer and usually more expensive than from Colombia. That said, Peru sits at the center of South America, which makes it great for exploring the region from Ecuador and Chile to Bolivia and Argentina. Who wins this round? Colombia. It's closer to North America, better connected internationally, and has multiple cities with direct flights abroad. Peru's fine for regional travel, but if you're planning regular trips to the US or Europe, Colombia's network saves you both time and money. Visas and residency are where these two countries really start to separate. Both welcome foreigners, but they make you jump through very different sets of hoops. Colombia is one of the most flexible countries in Latin America when it comes to long-term stays. If you work remotely, the digital nomad visa lets you stay up to 2 years with proof of about $1,100 a month in foreign income. Retirees can apply for the M11 retirement visa with around the same income requirement from a pension, and investors can qualify by purchasing roughly anywhere from $90,000 to $130,000 in Colombian real estate. The process is fairly quickly and straightforward, and after 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency. For anyone who wants a clear pathway from digital nomad to long-term resident, Colombia makes it simple. Peru, on the other hand, takes a more traditional approach. It offers a retirement visa for those with a guaranteed pension of at least $1,000 a month, and a rentista visa if you can show consistent income from investments or business sources. The main difference is time. Peru's immigration system moves slower and paperwork can feel old school, but there's one big advantage. After just 2 years of legal residency, you can apply for citizenship, one of the fastest timelines in the Americas. That makes it especially appealing for retirees or investors looking to build a second passport quickly. Who wins this round? Peru. Colombia wins for simplicity and modern visa options, but Peru's shorter path to citizenship gives it the edge. If you're thinking long-term, like dual nationality or eventual naturalization, Peru's the clear winner. Taxes can be complicated anywhere, but for expats, the difference between two systems can decide which country makes financial sense long-term. In Colombia, if you spend more than 183 days in the country within a 12-month period, you become a tax resident. That means you're taxed on your worldwide income, though there are important exemptions and thresholds. Pensions are exempt up to 1,000 UVT per month. And you probably don't know what UVT is. It's their own, we'll call it a fake currency, but it equals roughly 12,000 US dollars. And the country's progressive tax brackets are reasonable by global standards. And I did say 12,000 US dollars a month. The key is that Colombia's tax code is structured and predictable, but you'll likely need a good accountant to make sure you're compliant, especially if your income comes from abroad. There's no US-Colombia income tax treaty, so Americans in particular need to plan carefully to avoid double taxation. Peru works differently. It uses what's essentially a territorial tax system, meaning you're only taxed on income earned inside Peru. Money you earn from abroad, like a US pension, remote job, or investment income, is generally not taxed, unless you bring that money directly into Peru. That simplicity is a major reason why many retirees and digital nomads find Peru financially attractive. Tax rates are progressive but low, and compliance for most expats is straightforward. Who wins this round? Peru. Colombia's tax system is solid and fair, but it requires more paperwork and professional help. Peru's approach is simpler, cleaner, and often cheaper for anyone earning from outside the country. If you want peace of mind during tax season, Peru makes life a lot easier. Healthcare is one of those things you don't think about until you need it, and the quality and cost can completely change how you feel about living abroad. Colombia consistently ranks among the top healthcare systems in Latin America. As a resident, you can join the public EPS plan for around $30 a month, which covers doctor's visits, medications, and hospital care. Most expats also choose private insurance, usually between $60 and $150 a month, to get faster service and access to English-speaking doctors. Cities like Medellin, Bogotá, and Bucaramanga have internationally accredited hospitals, and Colombia is now a regional leader in medical and dental tourism. It's affordable, modern, and efficient, one of the strongest systems south of the U.S. border. Peru's healthcare system is split between public and private sectors. The main public option, Salud, is funded through payroll contributions and provides basic coverage for residents and workers. Care is inexpensive, but wait times can be long and facilities vary by region. The good news is that private hospitals in Lima, Arequipa, and Trujillo are excellent, modern, clean, and affordable by Western standards. Private insurance typically costs $50 to $100 a month, and you can pay out of pocket for many procedures at a fraction of U.S. prices. Who wins this round? Colombia. Peru's private healthcare is good, but Colombia's entire system, from public to private, is more efficient, more modern, and better ranked globally. If quality and speed matter to you, Colombia clearly comes out ahead. Safety and stability are two of the biggest factors when deciding where to live abroad. And while Colombia and Peru are both relatively safe for foreigners, their challenges are very different. Colombia has spent the last 2 decades steadily improving its reputation for security. Major cities like Medellin, Bogotá, and Cartagena are modern, vibrant, and safe for expats who use basic common sense. Petty theft, phones, wallets, or bags is still the most common issue, especially in busy areas, but violent crime against foreigners is rare. Politically, Colombia is stable. Governments change hands peacefully, the economy is consistent, and infrastructure continues to develop. It's a country that feels reliable, not perfect, but moving in the right direction. Peru, on the other hand, is generally safe in terms of street crime, but struggles with political instability. Protests and demonstrations are common, especially in Lima and southern regions like Puno and Cusco. Most are peaceful, but they can disrupt travel or local life when tensions flare. Economically, Peru remains sound, inflation is low, and the currency has been fairly steady, but the government sees frequent turnover and short-lived administrations. Outside of politics, Peru is calm and welcoming, but uncertainty at the national level sometimes filters down into daily life. Who wins this round? Colombia. Peru's political turbulence makes it less predictable, while Colombia continues to strengthen both its institutions and public safety. For expats, that consistency translates into peace of mind. Both Colombia and Peru speak Spanish, but the experience of learning and using it is quite different. In Colombia, Spanish is often considered the most neutral and easy to understand in Latin America. People speak clearly at a moderate pace, and they're usually patient with foreigners who are learning. If you want to study Spanish seriously, Colombia is one of the best places to do it. Medellin and Bogotá are full of affordable language schools, and locals genuinely encourage you to practice. English English proficiency is improving, especially among younger professionals in big cities. But outside of major hubs, you still need some Spanish for daily life. Peru's Spanish, by contrast, has a slower rhythm and a softer accent, which actually makes it pleasant for learners. It also carries influences from Quechua and other indigenous languages, giving it unique expressions and vocabulary you won't hear anywhere else. In terms of English, Peru scores slightly lower than Colombia overall. You'll find more English speakers in Lima and tourist areas like Cusco, but less so in smaller towns or the countryside. Who wins this round? Colombia. Both countries have friendly, approachable Spanish, but Colombia's neutral accent and higher level of English proficiency in major cities makes it easier for expats to settle in. If you want to become fluent, Colombia is one of the best classrooms in Latin America. Both Colombia and Peru offer incredible variety when it comes to weather, but they do it in very different ways. In Colombia, the climate doesn't change by season, it changes by altitude. Because the country sits on the equator, temperatures stay consistent year-round. That means you can literally choose your weather by choosing your city. If you want perfect spring-like conditions, Medellin averages 75 degrees Fahrenheit every day. Bogotá offers cooler mountain air around 65 degrees, while the Caribbean coast in Cartagena and Santa Marta bring endless sunshine and heat. Colombia doesn't have a bad season. You just pick your climate and stay there. Peru's geography stretches from the Pacific coast to the Andes and into the Amazon, so you get true diversity in weather. On the coast, including Lima, the climate is dry and mild, but often cloudy, with a thick coastal fog known as the garua. In the Andes, cities like Cusco and Arequipa have cooler temperatures with distinct wet and dry seasons. And in the Amazon basin, it's hot, humid, and tropical year-round. Peru's seasons are reversed from the northern hemisphere, so when it's winter in North America, it's summer there. But even then, the temperature differences depend more on altitude than calendar dates. Who wins this round? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want consistent, stable weather that never really changes, Colombia wins, hands down. If you want the full range from desert coast to jungle heat to mountain cool, Peru offers unmatched variety. So we'll call this one a tie. Colombian wins for comfort, Peru wins for diversity. Culture and lifestyle are where both Colombia and Peru really shine, but they do it in completely different ways. Colombia is pure energy. It's social, musical, and full of movement. You'll hear salsa in Cali, reggaeton in Medellin, and cumbia along the Caribbean coast. People are friendly, proud, and eager to share their culture with visitors. Every weekend feels like there's something to celebrate. Parades, concerts, neighborhood events, or just friends gathering over coffee that somehow turns into a dance party. In the big cities, there's a modern entrepreneurial spirit, co-working spaces, art galleries, nightlife. But in small towns, life slows down and centers around family and community. Colombia feels warm and alive, a culture that connects people quickly. Peru, by contrast, carries a deeper, quieter kind of richness. It's the heart of the ancient Inca civilization, and that history is everywhere, in the architecture, festivals, and traditions that still shape daily life. It's also one of the world's great culinary capitals. Lima is home to multiple restaurants ranked among the best on the planet, and Peruvian cuisine has become a global trend. You'll find influences from Spain, Japan, China, and the Andes blending into something uniquely Peruvian. Social life revolves around family, food, and culture rather than nightlife. And there's a sense of pride and heritage that feels grounded. It's not as flashy as Colombia, but it's deep, authentic, and incredibly rewarding for people who appreciate history and culture. Who wins this round? It's a tie. Colombia wins for energy, friendliness, and modern social life. It's extroverted and full of rhythm. Peru wins for depth, tradition, and world-class gastronomy. And yes, it is world-class. It's soulful and grounded. If you want excitement, go with Colombia. If you want substance, Peru will win you over slowly. When you move abroad, community makes all the difference. And while both Colombia and Peru are welcoming, the size and style of their expat scenes are very different. Colombia's expat community has exploded in recent years. Cities like Medellin, Bogotá, and Cartagena have become global hotspots for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and retirees. Medellin, in particular, is one of the most international cities in Latin America. Co-working spaces, English-speaking cafes, and entire neighborhoods built around expat-friendly infrastructure. You'll find networking events, language exchanges, and meetups almost any night of the week. It still feels like a community that's growing, not one that's already defined, which means there's room to build real friendships and integrate into local life. And here in Bogotá, I started Bogotá Nomads, a group that brings together expats and local English speakers, and it's been incredible to see how fast it's growing. Peru's expat scene is smaller but well established, especially in Lima, Cusco, and Arequipa. It tends to attract retirees, long-term travelers, and professionals working in tourism, development, or education. There's a strong sense of community among those who live there long-term, but fewer digital nomads or young entrepreneurs entrepreneurs compared to Colombia. You'll find social events, volunteer opportunities, and active online groups, but the expat scene leans quieter and more traditional. Cusco and the Sacred Valley attract people who are drawn to history, culture, and nature more than nightlife or business. Who wins this round? Colombia. Peru's community is friendly and tight-knit, but Colombia's is larger, more diverse, and expanding quickly. If you want connection, collaboration, and a built-in social life, Colombia delivers it. If you prefer a smaller, slower, more introspective crowd, Peru feels like home, but for sheer size, accessibility, and momentum, Colombia takes the win. All right, let's tally this up. Colombia wins flights and distance, healthcare, safety and stability, language, and expat community. Peru wins visas and citizenship, taxes, and slightly lower cost of living. Ties are weather and culture and lifestyle. So what's the takeaway? If you want modern comfort, community, and momentum, Colombia is the better long-term base. It's affordable, well-connected, and continues to improve every year. You'll find vibrant cities, reliable healthcare, and an expat scene that's growing fast, with opportunities to build something new instead of just joining what already exists. If you're looking for authentic culture, lower taxes, and a slower, more traditional pace of life, Peru delivers. It's full of history, incredible food, and welcoming people, but with less of the infrastructure and international exposure that Colombia now enjoys. Peru is the quiet classic. Colombia is the new chapter. In short, Colombia is momentum. Peru is meaning. One gives you excitement and opportunity. The other gives you peace and perspective. It just depends what kind of experience you want to wake up to every morning. So which one would you choose, Colombia or Peru? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every one. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and check the links below. The Passport, my free weekly newsletter with cost of living data, visa updates, and global expat insights. Brokor, my free newsletter featuring international real estate and business opportunities. Bogotá Nomads. If you're in Colombia, join our growing expat and local English-speaking community in Bogotá. We're already hosting meetups and events. I'm Matt, the Americano, and I'll see you in the next showdown. Take care.